Welcome to the remarkable journey, No Passport Required, where we bring you the most innovative business solutions from very resilient and persistent entrepreneurs who built a bridge into the new era when faced with the unprecedented situation that we've just been through and all the challenges involved. Every episode is an interview with a new business owner who will be sharing what they did successfully to navigate their business through the journey and through this difficult time, and how they overcame the enormous hurdles that they faced. Of course, each business will have its own unique hurdles and challenges. This series is dedicated to you, the determined entrepreneur. But first, a quick message from our sponsor. This episode of the Remarkable Journey, No Passport Required, is brought to you by the Revenue Breakthrough Pivot Program. Has the revenue in your brick and mortar or manufacturing business plateaued or even plummeted during this challenging period we're going through? Do you feel that survival is a struggle, even though you know with certainty that your business has potential for so much more? Are your stress levels sky high and keeping you up at night, trying to come up with a solution so that you can lift the burden of constant financial pressure? The Revenue Breakthrough Pivot Program is designed to accelerate revenue growth in your business. Our 14-week online program provides you with the roadmap and personal support to strengthen your financial position and create financial security and stability in your business. I'm going to introduce you to our rock star guest, Philip Rubin, who is the owner and founder of Health Island. They curate a phenomenal range of healthy snacks and distribute to companies, other resellers, and the public. Initially via vending machines, but now via a varied distribution model, which we will hear more about during the interview. Health Island was founded in 2010 out of passion for healthy lifestyle and nutrition. With lockdown, their business ground to a halt, but they managed to make a 180-degree pivot. I'm not going to go more into that because I would like Philip to give us all the details on how he managed to do that. So I'm going to go over to Philip now and ask you, Philip, thanks so much for doing this interview with us today. I'm so thrilled to have you here.
Thanks for the opportunity.
It's awesome to have somebody who can talk about the challenges that they've been through during the COVID pandemic and how you really overcame those challenges. This is important to share with other entrepreneurs out there. There's so many people who are struggling at the moment, and I know that you've done some amazing stuff, so I'm really excited to hear about it. First of all, Philip, I'd like to just kind of get a background from you on the business. What made you particularly choose this business that you're in at the moment?
I think what got me into this business, I mean, my background was actually come from an IT background. So I was a software developer and systems analyst. But I think about 20 years ago, I started a personal journey with a family member that wasn't well, led me into a path of exploring health and nutrition, and it's where I came to realize the direct impact that nutrition has on our mental, obviously our physical, but also our mental well-being. And in fact, there was a night where I was walking around the hospital at 8 o'clock one night with visiting a family member, and I couldn't find anything decent to eat. They were just vending machines with the usual junk food in, and I think that's what started me on this path as a business. So I decided to introduce and launch healthy vending machines into South Africa.
And so obviously you saw an opportunity there immediately. It's always interesting how difficult situations really bring up opportunities sometimes. They're not just a difficult situation, but often entrepreneurs will see the opportunity in those situations. And what was it like for you in the early days in your business after you got started?
Yeah. It was frenetic. It was frenetic. I mean, I had to source products. I just didn't. There just weren't enough. I mean, this was in 2010. There just weren't enough healthy grab and go kind of snack products. We didn't want to get into into sort of cooked food or anything like that. It's really had to be stuff that you could just pick up and go and run with. And it also had to be the kind of product that can fit into a vending machine, the spirals of a vending machine. So it was a mix of trying to find products off the shelf and also then trying to package products into the kind of sizes and we got it wrong in the beginning. I mean, we didn't realize that people don't really want 100 or 200 grams of cashew nuts for a snack. It's way too much, and the cost is too much. So we scaled it all down, and now almost everything we sell is about 60-gram packs, and that just seems to work perfectly. And it comes in at a good price point of an average of about 14 rand, so it's affordable for most people. Yeah.
Amazing how you learn as you go along.
Yeah.
You start off with one idea in mind when you start business, but things rapidly.
It was a journey of learning, because there was also we also realized I couldn't operate vending machines outside of Cape Town where we're based. So within a year or two we started a franchise business model. And then we also realized that it's a better business model to have clients invested, our sites invested in the business, by either paying a rental to have the machines there or subsidizing the products, which almost all clients do today with us. Yep.
Okay, so do you still have vending machines?
We do. A lot of them came to a halt with the start of COVID. So we've had to take about 3 off sites. We're just saying there's no future for them there. And then a few others are having a wait and see approach. So they're saying, let's just see what happens in the next few months. And then a few have gotten back to work. And obviously hospitals are still operating, but we've got quite a lot of UCT. That hasn't started up yet. A couple of schools, and a lot of corporates are still inactive. Yeah.
Okay, so since you are really reliant on people being within the space, the space surrounding the vending machines, they need foot traffic. And today, as you've just mentioned, we know that many places are not having foot traffic. Universities are not open, etc. How did you overcome that problem? What happened to you with COVID? Please let us know. How did you overcome the problem?
So as COVID was approaching very fast, I could see my work days were getting shorter and shorter, and the demand was just waning completely. And then in our very, very first week of lockdown, I think it was actually the lockdown started just before the weekend, and on that Monday in lockdown, I had a call from an acquaintance who said to me that she wants to send her staff some of our products, just as a way of connecting and just keeping motivation and morale up. And I thought, what a brilliant idea. Within a day or two, I realized that this is the only way to do business, because we went from 15,000 vending sales a month to nothing. And it was either this or I had no income at all. So, and that's what got me thinking that this is something viable and this is something I could probably sell to some other corporates. And so I launched on a whole drive to get marketing material together to do everything that needed to be done. Basically, we had the products. It was just a completely different distribution model and a completely different value add, really. So it was putting all that together.
Incredible. So you pivoted your business model. And so can you give us more kind of detail when you say that you've pivoted your business model, you're doing things differently? Can you give us a little more detail on what it is you're doing. So as opposed to the vending machines, you're now focused on direct.
So what we did was we very quickly put together a range of snack box hamper sizes. So we decided what would clients want to pay for this. So we come up with a box that costs 150 Rand or 200 Rand or 350 or 500 as standards. So that was our product, basically. And then our marketing pitch was to approach clients in any way we could. And that wasn't that easy either because people weren't in the office. So, you know, I got very active on LinkedIn as well and using any marketing tools I could find. I had a professional one-page electronic brochure designed, which was our pitch. And on that pitch, it simply said, here's a great way to connect with your staff, to, you know, to acknowledge them, show them some love, show them some, you know, some appreciation. And we can send in this on your behalf. We can get it there within a couple of days, whether there's 50 staff or 200 staff. And we can personalize it. We can put a note into every single box that you can craft for us. It'll just have a message of support in. And yeah, and we had to scramble around. So it wasn't just the marketing material. We had to get the boxes and and work out what box sizes were needed. And this was under lockdown. I mean, we had to get under essential service certificate, find a supplier that we could source products from. I mean, the packaging products. And the biggest challenge was finding a courier company that was operating and that could deliver affordably at volume. And that was the biggest challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an.
But we managed within a week. Yeah.
That's really, I mean, what you did is really remarkable. Firstly, when we were in lockdown in South Africa, only essential food items were allowed to be distributed.
Yeah.
So you had to make sure that you fell into that category, which you already did anyway. But then you had to make sure that you had all the compliance, etc. And getting the packaging material on its own must have been a very big challenge with businesses being closed. I mean, it's really remarkable, Philip. I'm quite excited to hear what you did. And I think that it's exciting for other people to hear because it shows us that in the middle of a crisis, we can find different ways to do things. It doesn't mean that it's the death of our business. It may mean that we just have to change the way that we're doing things. And it's really important to be open to change and not to be stuck in our old ways. I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with. You know, they've done something for one way for a long time. You, for example, have been in business for 10 years already. So
in business,
11. So it's a big change to suddenly have to move from what you've done for 11 years and overnight, basically within a week, change everything. I mean, that is really, really awesome. Really awesome. That's very exciting, Philip.
Great.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that with us. I'm really thrilled that you could share that with us. And any advice that you would like to give others who they might not be in the same type of business as you, but who are in the same situation that we're basically all businesses are in and struggling and really used to doing things the old way. I don't like to call this a new normal, but I guess in a way it is, and have to now pivot and change and do something radical to survive. Any inspiration?
Look, we're not unique. There are a lot of businesses that turned themselves on their head and found something very different. In fact, very different to do. I mean, to me, one of the greatest examples is, I won't mention the brand, but I mean, there's a well-known swimwear company in South Africa who just, just their marketing is phenomenal, and they just started delivering vegetables and fruit and vegetables and food, and they had the market attention, although it was a different market, but they just leveraged their marketplace, and they did brilliantly. And so there are many people that seemed to have made it work somehow. And I think the important thing is, when you're desperate, or when you get to that, when your back is really against the wall, you can't say no to anything. You have to consider every alternative that comes away. So, I mean, I was lucky in that the alternative that was requested of me was related to what I was doing. It was just a different distribution model. And I think that's the critical thing, is to just be completely open-minded. The COVID lockdown is unusual, and it was extreme, and there were so many other restraints which made it particularly difficult. Handling food, or if you're a restaurant owner, you couldn't just go delivering food to people's homes without thinking about the immunities and all the other things. So there are always going to be challenges, but I think one has to really be completely open-minded and look at any possibility, but better if it's related to your current business, but just anything really, and try and test the waters and try and make it work. And I'm just very grateful that the first few potential clients I approached, embraced the idea. Price Waterhouse is one of our biggest clients and still is, and they really saw the value in it, and took it on a huge scale. And other companies like Saatchi Abel, Rapid Deploy, Future Growth, PSG. So yeah, and as an example as well, I mean, it doesn't end there. So because we innovated this first phase of COVID doesn't mean that we're done, and we've arrived. It's the rules are changing all the time. There's second waves coming there. Some people are in the office, some people aren't in the office. Clients are giving me new ideas all the time. I mean, I saw a client posted something last week saying they're giving all their staff who've been with them 5 years, giving them an anniversary present. So, that for me is a marketing opportunity. Or another client saying they're taking on 120 graduates in January. Can we give them all snack hampers? So, of course we can. And some companies are saying staff are returning to work. Can we give them have a hamper waiting on their desk when they get back to work? So, we just have to keep thinking out the box and diversifying and changing the marketing message and rolling with it.
Yeah, fantastic. I really love that. Thanks for that advice, Philip. I love that advice. Be open to opportunities always. You've never arrived. You're always on a journey.
Yeah.
You're always busy arriving as a business person. The moment you think you've arrived, I've read this in one of Robin Sharma's books, kind of something to this effect. The moment that you think you've arrived at the peak, and you stop trying, basically is the beginning of the end. So
right.
Message, I love the message in that. Thanks so much for the inspiration and the pearls of wisdom, Philip. I feel very inspired actually after this conversation. One other thing I would like to ask you, Philip, any milestones over the last 11 years in your business that you would like to share with us?
There've been several. I mean, I think when we launched the franchise into a franchise business model, that was quite a milestone for us. But this one has definitely been the greatest. I mean, there were a couple of months into this where I said to myself, although I haven't adhered to that, but I said to myself, you know what? This is the business I want to be in. I'm done with vending, So for me, that was a milestone, just realizing that my business is not vending. My business is sharing our amazing products any way we can, and that's why, we're supplying, we've got a wholesale price model for clients as well now. And we have quite a lot of corporates ordering, just getting a huge box of product just to hand out to their staff, so it's not really hampers, it's just freebies for their staff. So, and we send even to Joburg with that kind of thing. So, and I think this whole COVID transformation has been a milestone, a huge milestone, and with it came a lot of technology upgrades and learning curves. I've had to on brand new web. We had to have all our products photographed professionally, a brand new website set up professionally. I had to learn the back end of the website. I've had to become a master on LinkedIn, which I'm working at all the time. So yeah, a lot of all sorts of challenges, but I'm loving it because it keeps me interested.
That's awesome. I can hear that you're passionate. I can hear from the conversation, you're really committed to what you do and you're persistent. You don't give up under any circumstances. And these are all things to bear in mind as an entrepreneur. And just one last question. I know I said the last one was last, but I have to ask you this, if you don't mind. What are some action steps that people should start doing right now based on the advice that you've given us today? What would you advise?
I think that the biggest advice I can give is just to keep, is don't shut down. It's just keep engaging and talking to people, and don't be embarrassed about saying that you're struggling or that you're having a hard time in your business. I find that when you actually show that vulnerability, people actually come forward and say, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? And 90% of it might not work, but something might just resonate and work for you. And keep curious and keep interested and keep learning. Look on, build up some good LinkedIn contacts and look at your feed and see what people are talking about and what they're doing, and keep engaging. If someone says they've achieved something in their firm, give them feedback. Just say, great, well done, and just keep putting yourself out there. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Philip. I think that's really, really important advice and something that every business owner can start to apply immediately. So that's brought us to the end of our interview. We've been talking with Philip Rubin, who's the owner of Health Island. Philip, can you please tell us where our listeners can find you? Where or how can they find you?
Yeah. So our website is probably the best place, most accessible place. It's Health Island, one word, .co.za. And that's ISLAND, like an island. So it's healthisland.co.za. Our office is in the Powder Mill, space, Sunrise Circle in Tabeni. If anyone wants to make an appointment to pop through and have a look at our range of products. And my email address is simply phil@healthisland.co.za. If you want to pop me a mail and ask anything you like.
Awesome. And how can you help corporates, any corporate companies? How can you help them?
That's our primary selling pitch really is we can help. What we can do is help corporates connect with their staff, and I think it's even more critical now in COVID. Everyone says we're in isolation, but actually we're more connected than ever. We're just in physical isolation, but people need that connection, and that's basically, I think, our value add is that we're giving companies an opportunity just to, connect with their staff in a positive way.
Absolutely love that. I love your message. I've loved this interview and the time we've spent together and all the pearls of wisdom and the openness. Thank you for coming into this interview
Pleasure.
with an open heart and an open mind and sharing all possibilities. Thank you so much, Philip.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks for the opportunity. It's been great.